Do you have this sort of situation where you've collected way too many little plastic bits and you can't really do anything with them? But there's also these other little things, the sprues. I've collected way too many sprues, and I figured, what the heck? I would try and do something fun with these and try and get my money's worth out of these little models. So starting off, I had these pair of Siege Dreadnought torsos, and I had an idea to try and make some soldiers out of them, but I had already started on this torso right here. So, taking inspiration from, I forget what it's called, the Trench Crusade Mechanical Soldier. I want to try and recreate those with at least one of them with some sprue and some extra leftover parts that I had collected. So the only thing I really needed to finish up on this one was create the waist and assemble the legs. Using two little bits of sprues that I had cut, I had made a little waist for the belt. And then also there's some gaps on either side, so I used some of the sort of shavings that I had left over to fill in the gaps. Just to clean it up a bit and just make it look kind of nice. So making sure to get all those little gaps filled in. You don't want to have any... I mean, you probably will have, like, gaps, but it's always nice to make it look as good as you can get it. And then legs, of course you want legs. So I took two bits of sprues and cut them in half, making sure to clean them up so that they have a smooth connection when you glue them together, just so that they fit nicely and don't get too many gaps, which you can always come over again with glue. So gluing the legs on, they're pretty difficult when you're trying to do this. You got to hold it long enough to make sure it stays, which it will not. It will try and escape quite often, so make sure you use a lot of glue if you have that type of glue. If not, you can also use super glue. Super glue dries super fast. But this one's also a bit more efficient. So you'll probably have to hold the little pieces every once in a while. It gets kind of annoying, but... just set it down, let it dry, and then make sure to clean up the bits because you want to make sure those connections are more or less flush. Make sure they're connected flat with one another, or else they have a lot of gaps, which you'll have to go back and fill in. Now I'm just going to let it dry. So basically had this idea, I saw the little Redemptor. Is it a Redemptor? No, it's a Siege Dreadnought. Saw the Siege Dreadnought. It kind of looked like one of the mechanical men's, I don't know, sort of torso. So I thought, what the heck? I try and build an actual little Space Marine out of this, or just some guy. Just bulking out the legs, making it look like he's got some form of armor at least, but it also just makes it look nice. Yeah, and you can see here there's a massive gap right here where I had to go back and clean it off. Had to shave it. So you want to make sure you fix it before gluing because it's really annoying when you have to tear it all apart just to clean up some pieces. There's the little Siege Dreadnought torso I did, and then there's some other guys I made, so they're also really cool. I'm really happy with how these guys turned out. Just using sprues and leftover little bits that I had. Using sprue glue, the sprue glue, just put it in with the normal glue, and it makes a really nice filler. Making more of the belt, want to bulk out the back, so what's that thing called? The backpack looking doodad. I think it's like a machine gun like ammo holster or whatever for one of the, I forget what it's from, one of my robots that I got. Decorating the waist here. Got, I think those are like from the other chest piece that I had. I cut it so it would fit better. But just make sure you don't throw away all of your pieces, because some of them are really cool. Just gotta fix a little mistake there on the leg. Gotta fill in all those gaps. You don't want gaps I mean, sometimes you want gaps, but most of the time you don't. Using some shavings, I did my best to recreate a hand, but it isn't going to look great. I knew that, but I figured I'd at least try and make it look like he's holding the gun at the very least. Tried experimenting with the Siege Dreadnought sort of head cover, but I wasn't really working for what I needed to. And plus, the set only came with the one before the set and then a little extra one, so I only had one left over. So I went with the little curved bits and then just sort of just bulked it up, added more sprue, more little bits of junk. So tried to do that, yeah, and I think it turned out pretty well. Just gotta adjust it and make sure it is how you like it. Now for heads, I had a lot of those little heads. What are they from? The Skitarii heads, and I really liked them. So I got quite a few of those. Here you can see me experimenting with quite a few. I fill up that with like cement glue or whatever, and I went with the little Mechanicus guy head. They're really cool also. I went with that one because they're my favorite. And it looks more like the mechanical soldiers or whatever from Trench Crusade, so I thought it looked like it would fit. So here with I'm using the other one, and this one's flipped actually. The other one's right side up, but I tried flipping this one over, and I am actually building the shoulders, and you want to go with a sort of cross here, just so you can have the most, more or less the most stability you can get in clean the back up, filling that stuff in. Really want to bulk out the back. But of course, you can always come back and add more glue just so it doesn't fall apart. Now with that done, I decided to just fill it up with glue, as much glue as I could, without overflowing. So now it's got a really strong base. Now for the arms, I think with what I went with here was a flamethrower. I did do experiments, but you make sure you really clean up those arms. So yeah, make it more or less the same length. Yeah, here's the flamethrower. So, yeah, I cleaned up the flamethrower. I really cut into it, making it so that the arm will actually be somewhat attached to it, just so it would look nice. Adding the glue and attaching the gun. This one was a really nice connection, actually. And then just adjusting the arm, making sure it's just in a nice position. If I had to make a suggestion, do use super glue when doing the arms if the arms aren't connected or holding the same weapon or something. Because they'll just sort of fall off a lot, especially if it's a really heavy weapon. Now I'm just bulking out the arms, adding a lot of like knickknacks and I don't know, like little leftover pieces that I cleaned up, the shavings pretty much. Really filling in all those little bits and crannies just so it looks nice. And now we're doing the waist, so just bulking out the waist, making it actually look like it could hold somebody. Decided to go ahead and put this little piece on the back just because it looked a lot like the Fallout sort of hatches that a lot of the power armor had, so I thought that looked really cool. Making the waist, basically doing the same thing again that I had done for the last one. And then just filling up a lot of the back parts. I did use these pieces. These are really cool to put in. They look like canisters, so they went really well, I thought. Probably one of my favorite bits I used. All right, on to the shoulder panels. We're going to actually try and do these. So I suggest super glue because it works nicely, and I like how it stays. And plus, it's just a nice little curve, so I think it looked good. Bulking out more of the shoulder. Sort of battered, beat up. You know, that type of stuff. I had one of these, I forget what it's called. These canisters from a Sisters of Battle, I think it was. And I wanted to put it on the back here because it looked like it would work well for a flamethrower. So you gotta make sure you clean off the back there. And reuse the hose on the arm, making it look sort of like the canister and the flamethrower are actually sort of attached. Doing the other arm using super glue. And then also just add in the other shoulder. Covering up that arm just to make it look nice and greebled. Yeah, I was sticking a little bit too far on this one side, so I had to clip it off and clean it up just a little bit. Onto the legs, so I clipped these all off and measured them, more or less measured them, and then stuck them to this torso with super glue. And so they dry fast, and now he looks kind of stumpy, doesn't he? Well, we're going to go ahead and add some more bulk to the legs just for a bit of extra armor. I found the sprue glue actually looks really good, like with belts or leather, just sort of filler. It looks nice. I was not having a good time with the waist here, trying to make it look less weird, so I added some more junk. Oh, I also had this metal bit from a tank, from a Chaos Rhino, I believe it's called, and gluing that on made it look really good, so I really enjoyed that bit. Doing one for the other side, I had to make a little bit of like a waistcoat, so went ahead and just used some sprue. Thought it looked good. And then added some more little knickknacks that I had. Some little knobs that I had cut off. Bulking up the other arm, actually. Throwing on some little knick-knack, little bits that I had. Actually bulk it up a bit, make it look less like a noodle, more like a mechanical suit. Clearing off some of those numbers that were just there. Cleaning those off. Making it look nice and smooth. Well, for the most part. Yeah, so the one on, yeah, the flame guy was starting to look a little too short, so I had to make it, I wanted to extend the leg a bit out. And then also my piece broke. More knickknacks, more little bits and pieces. Now he's actually starting to look a bit taller, so at least he's actually the right height now that I'm happy with. And adding some sprue glue to that one ankle, just so it would look nice and consistent. Now on to more belt bits. Just filling in that gap. I wasn't happy with the gap, so cleaned it up. Added some more little knickknacks. My glue stick broke again, so I just used that part. Now for the head. I did have this other head. I did have this Black Templar head, but I'm surprised I didn't like it, but I did have a Skitari guy, Mechanicus man, with the hood, and that turned out really good. I was really happy with how that looked. So I just added some glue, I think it was cement glue, and just glued it on there. Oh, I also wanted to give the other guy a bit of like some of the shoulder guard or waist guard, I guess it would be. So I went ahead and made him one as well because I thought it looked cool, so I went ahead and did it. I also had this chain, and it looked really good on the flamethrower guy, so I could not put it on there, right? And it looks cool. I thought it looked cool. I also have this little walkie-talkie, which also came from the Skitari set that I had, and went ahead and stuck it to the military sort of guy, more military, machine gun man. Oh, I also had this fist that also came from my Black Templar set that I got, and I thought it would look good in the other guy with the flamethrower man because he was sort of having the clenched fist already, so I went ahead and just stuck that to him. And then also bulked it out a bit. I also just used the clippings. I clipped his arm off and used his arm to make more arm because it went well. So there we go. There's this guy. Just a bit more decorations for the belt. Just fill up some more of those gaps, those unsightly gaps. They're not nice unless you're going for that. And this one would not work with me, so I had to do a lot of adjustments to it. And there we go. They're looking pretty good. Now all I gotta do is paint them. And here they are, painted. So I went with, like, gray. I guess it wouldn't be gray. It's silver and orange, but you can't really see the orange. He is standing on orange, and then I have that little spike thingy from the Rhino, the Chaos Rhino, and this thing would not focus for whatever reason. There we go, and you got, like, little, like, thunderbolts on the chest. I thought that looked really good. I mean, it's not a great paint job, but it's my paint job, and I'm really happy with it. Really happy with this one. The chains looked really good. The chest piece. And this one is the Siege Dreadnought upside down, the sort of chest piece that they have. And this one is the right side up chest piece, which it looks good for what I wanted it to be. The guy's head looks like he's kind of scrunched down in there, but I thought it was really good. I'm really happy with this one. Went with the green. I thought the green looked really good. Just sort of gave it a weathering. The gun also looks really good. I'm really happy with how the gun turned out. I mean, the paint job on the gun turned out. So yeah, I'm really happy with these guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I don't know, I might do more of these if you enjoyed them. So I hope you have a good day. Goodbye.